I'd like to thank anyone who has taken time out of their day to tune into another recording of the BTTT podcast. The sole purpose of this podcast is to deliver any insight or help towards certain topics and situations. I hope that by the end of this podcast that me and my panel of guests have been able to give you a clear opinion and understanding of where we come from in terms of said topic. So without further ado, I welcome you to the BTTT podcast. Our panelists and guests today are Jamari Mack and Bobby Cook. And for today's topics, we're going to discuss who are you really as a person? Do you ever feel like yourself? And what do you exhibit to the rest of the society and the world? The second one is, who has lost your complete respect? How come, and can they ever gain it back from you? And then the third one is, what does being a real man mean to you in society? Is your take on it different from what society should perceive it as? So for the first one, who are you really as a person? Do you ever feel like yourself, and what do you exhibit to the rest of society and the world? I can say that I'm someone who's caring, but I have limitations on how I act towards certain people. You can't always open up to just anybody, because people fuck with you for a reason or a motive, whether it's for like being a friend or having like friendship or support, or like for their own like beneficial purposes, like they just use you to get something out of you. And the list goes on. And then I feel like towards society, I'm someone who just is honest and keeps it real. Like I can't be no other person but myself. And people just gotta accept me for who I am and what I represent as an individual and a man. Like especially in Savannah, because a lot of people just have their own type of like personal style and like who they carry themselves as and everything like that. So I feel like I gotta be honest towards everyone. I can't sugarcoat shit. I'm just someone who's tell it like it is, and it may be a good thing or a bad thing, but it's just the way I was brought up and shit. So if y'all want to talk about,
all right, could you reread the topic again, the first one?
Who are you really as a person? Do you ever feel like yourself? And what do you exhibit to the rest of society and the world?
As a person, I would say that, I'm extremely blunt. Like Seth said, I don't really like to sugarcoat shit, because if you sugarcoat shit, that basically just doesn't but add more time to you lying, basically. I mean, you sugarcoat something, let's say you and a female are having a conversation and you want to tell her what you really feel, but you leave something out. Now she's thinking, one thing less of what you told her, which is a big deal in today's society, excuse me. And I'm just extremely blunt, like I said. That just goes with anyone. It's just the way I was raised. I was raised with tough love, so and in the hood, basically, but that's just how you gotta be. Second subject?
No, you gotta talk about that.
Well, me as a person, I feel like with anybody I meet, I gotta be honest. Cause like you said, what you gonna lie to people for, and let them think one thing when it's really something else. I grew up in a place where, I grew up in New York at first, then I moved down here, but pretty much Savannah's like a little New York. But I just grew up where, honesty is something that's real, you can't live in this world without honesty.
Facts.
Cause who wants to live in a world of lies? You feel me? And as far as society goes, I feel like I don't have to show myself or put an image out for society. I put an image out for my friends or my family, people who I care about. Society is just something that's there, We live in society, but that doesn't mean I have to put on an image or act out or act a certain way towards it.
Yeah, and growing up, when you start learning about people and then you start being socially involved with people, people start to they'll either fuck with you or try to judge you off first look, or just who you are as a person and stuff, until you actually get to know that person, they get to know you.
Exactly. Growing up today, people are real judgmental about people that you hang with, how you act.
Yeah, most of that shit is because of social media.
True. It's
people, and then other niggas telling niggas about you, which is basically basically bullshit.
That shit really true, because I mean, like, why would you hear, like, something about me from the second party instead of coming to me? Like, I'm the main source. If you want to know something, then just come ask me. Don't ask other people.
Yeah, then when people try to get to know you, they try to implement that, what they heard about you, to you, and then it's like false information, false claim and shit. Like, that shit don't slide with a lot of people, so that's just how it be sometimes. So, the next one is, who has lost their complete respect? How come, and can they ever gain it back from you? I can say it's one person in this world that was able to gain my respect and my trust within a couple of years, and just like that, they lost it within a couple of minutes.
Damn, nigga, the world.
Yeah, no, yeah, one person in the world.
Shit.
One person.
One person out of my life, out my whole life.
That hurts.
What you did, bro? Like,
That's how it was. But no, look,
Hold on, you be talking about, like, in general, just one person?
in my life in general, it's one person that's lost my respect and my trust.
Oh, lost. I thought you were saying, like,
Lost my respect and my trust.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I'm saying, all right.
My fault. I didn't mean to say
Damn,
world.
bro.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a different experience to have that person out of my life due to just like one thing they heard about myself, one thing they accused me of being upon myself. But I couldn't do shit but understand what their view on it was and just take that shit like a man and move on. So to this day, every now and then, I may like go back in my mind and reflect on that and what happened, and it makes me question the way people think and why they assume so much about you and other shit. Cause let's face it, we can't read motherfuckers' minds. Like we can't read what people be thinking, and like we can only react from what they be doing, like from their body language and conversation and experiences with them. So I believe at some point in time, like whenever, like if we cross paths again, or like if we see each other again, I believe that the person that's lost my respect, they're able to regain it. But it's not gonna be easy. You gotta take baby steps and like a lot of time.
Yeah.
And it's probably gonna be like to the point where we probably have to start back from like knowing each other, like start back to the basics and just go on from that, cause shit like that you just can't forget about and then forgive. So it just gotta take patience and time with me. Like I'm not an easy person to like, you do one thing and then you expect it to go another way. So no, it just takes a lot of time and patience.
I already know who lost my complete respect, boy. That shit was easy. I'm not gonna refer to her name. But
that shit was easy.
like, so basically this person, you know, in high school, I had built up a relationship that, you know, I ain't never built no relationship like this before, like over a year, I ain't never had that before. So this some shit like I really put my time and effort into. And some girl who I liked before the relationship I had got into tried to fuck that shit up, because like she would send me shit, but I wouldn't give her the response she wanted. She would like try and do some shit in school, but I wouldn't go for it. And then she gonna go tell my girl that like, you know, I was trying to touch on her and that I was asking for news and shit. I was like, for real though? So I had to pull out my phone real quick, you know, I had to show the messages off. But like, that's where that lying shit comes into, cause like, bruh, that's one quick way to lose my respect is to lie. Especially in some shit that, you know, I take serious and that, you know, I put my time and effort into. Cause like, shit like that don't go with me, you know? A lot of people like to manipulate things when they don't get their way.
And look, the main reason they did it, I can tell you that right now. The main reason they did that shit was because they wanted to see you unhappy because they wasn't fucking with you at the time.
They was mad because they wasn't fucking me.
Exactly.
They wanted some dick, and I don't know why. Oh, is this family friendly?
Yes, man.
Hold up, this shit not family friendly because y'all be cursing. That's not family friendly.
I mean, yeah, but you can censor. I can't edit this shit out so people gonna hear what you just said. But it's
That's
okay.
fine.
It's unfiltered.
Man,
I don't
honestly,
really care.
there's a lot of people in this world, well, in this city right now, that have lost my respect. Mainly there's a few. honestly, there's a particular few out of those several people that will never gain my respect back, and that's a fact. No matter, I don't care if you give me money, you can point a gun at my head, I still would probably say no, not accept them back into my life. But anyway, I just don't like people that, for one, that lies to me about small little things. I really pay attention to small little things when it comes down to the details, when people are explaining facts.
Yeah.
And I quote, and then they try to contradict it into their own words. Like, I don't like that. I like accurate information when it comes out one's mouth, and I don't like, people just leaving stuff out. Like I said from the first subject, when there's one thing that's left out of an explanation that someone's giving you, and you may be really in tune into it and really genuinely having a conversation, it can really fuck up your head when you find out something extra later on in life. But there's this one girl that really messed up my trust for a lot of people. Not gonna say her name, but this was back in my freshman year of high school. Technically, she basically broke up with me for Thanksgiving, and really she was cheating on me with a dude who drove his little bike to her house. Yeah, and I didn't even know. Like, I had no idea what, I was a completely sweet dude back then. Like, I didn't know there was a such thing as betrayal. I didn't know there was a such thing as just, those who actually can love or like someone and do other things on the side. And it kind of messed me up, and I would say in some way it was like venom. It affected me too as well, causing me to be very blunt with a lot of people because of my patience with human beings. But there are some people that I will accept back into my life, but they will have to only find themselves first.
That's understandable.
I can feel you on that. So.
Like, in no way, shape, or form are I saying like only females are manipulative, because everybody in this world is manipulative, like males, females alike. But like, it seems like sometimes like girls do it better than boys.
Yeah.
Cause girls, like, they more smart with what they do.
Mm-hmm.
But like boys, like, they'll do some stupid shit and then you find out. Girls, like, you don't really find out unless they want you to.
Yeah, when I was talking back on like the first one, like, people fuck with you for a motive or a reason. It's either for good intentions or for like people that's really trying to like do something to you and affect your life in a fucked up way. And then when that shit happen to you, you be feeling stuck and you don't know what to do. But then you gotta figure shit out on your own about that certain situation. And it's probably gonna be people that help you along that situation, but certain shit like that, you can't like forget. That shit's stuck in the back of your mind. And then when you bring that shit up, that shit, there's no forgiveness or anything unless you hear from that person or like figure out the real reasons and everything like that.
Yeah. A lot of people fuck with you for their personal gain.
Yeah.
Don't really care about yours.
But see, I don't target everybody though, cause not everybody's like that.
No.
There's some people out here that really fuck with you off the muscle. Like, I fuck with y'all just cause like the shit I'm going through right now, like the past couple of weeks,
Yeah.
I ain't really been asking nobody for like nothing like that. I just been telling like it is, and like you and like some other certain people been helping me, and I just been struggling through the most. So like, I just been trying to keep my head up about the situation and just try to find like the good about it, and stay optimistic about certain things, because
Yeah.
really some people that's in my shoes going through what I'm going through right now, they would have folded, or they just would have been stuck not knowing what to do. But me, I just appreciate y'all for like just being friends in my life and just like trying to help me as I go along this, journey of trying to regain what I lost.
Yeah.
So,
There are a lot of genuine people in the world, but it's like a few of them, they don't want to see you succeed. Like, that's why like a lot of people's circles are real small, cause like that's where it goes to like trust and stuff. Somebody can easily do one thing to you, and then your trust for everybody else can be completely fucked up.
yeah, especially like when you go through some certain shit, like whether you hurt whether you got financial issues or struggling, whether you get into trouble with the law and all that stuff, you find out who your real friends are through that shit.
Yeah.
Like people can say all day they fuck with you, you're your friend, but when shit hit the fan, and then real people come out that you've been fucking with, like you may fuck with like 50 people, but when you go through some shit, only like 3 or 4 of those people out of those 50 people gonna show up and be there with you until you get over that shit and you start feeling better about yourself.
Yeah, sometimes it takes for you to be at your absolute worst to find out who's really gonna be there for you.
Exactly. And like that's why like people, I underestimated the struggle for a while, like growing up, because I felt like, oh, it's just something that comes here and there, but it's not gonna happen to me as often. Then when that shit happens to you, like you really gotta adapt to try to figure out like who you fuck with, how are you gonna get about that situation, and then another thing, like it's just a lot that goes into it, just really trying to figure out like who mess with you. So
Man, I can say for one that I was definitely always the type to help those that I feel like genuinely, they'll get back on their feet, to help them until they until they get back on their feet. It was genuine. Like, I didn't just do it because I felt pressured or I felt like, oh man, he put me on the spot. You feel me? Like, I just did it because that's just something in my heart. But I have had people in my life that have actually used me and then and just sat there like a leech. And I ain't talking about financially wise, I'm talking about like literally use me for a ride, for everything. Like I'm steady giving them knowledge, all the knowledge that I find out from other people. That's basically all I do. I take knowledge from others and I let it sit in my mind for a little bit. I try to find myself when it comes down to that point. Then I spread it upon others. But I mean, other than that, that didn't really work with those few. So I mean,
it is like that a lot.
hope for the best.
that's another thing. Like when I learned another thing too, when you say no to somebody that you fuck with and they start changing up on you, that's another thing that you find out about people too. So
Real shit, boy.
Yeah, a lot of people like you be a real genuine caring person, and then you really like go out your way to help somebody who you say you fuck with, but then they using you for their personal gain, whether that's emotionally, physically, or just for them to get by. It's like you can't be nice to everybody. But I'm not saying like you go out and be like an asshole to everybody, but at the same time, like you have to watch how you act around certain people. Like y'all, like I'll help you, like without a moment's hesitation, because like I'm not doing it because I feel sorry for you. I'm not doing it because like I just feel pity or anything. I'm doing it because I genuinely care for you and I consider you family. So for family, I do anything. But like there are those people who's like, you do something, and then as soon as you do that one thing, oh, let me get this, let me get that. Oh, you busy? Can I get a ride? Like everybody isn't like meant to be, treated the same way as like everybody else in your circle, because they'll use you because they know that you're gonna give them what they want because they think that you really really fuck with them. So they're gonna do and go out their way to get what they want from you.
yeah, and I mean some real friends, they gonna understand like whether you can do stuff or not, because that's just how life be sometimes. But as for like y'all, that's for you two and like everybody else in my life that I really fuck with off the muscle, like I can really genuinely say like y'all consider like damn near family and like fucking brothers. So I can appreciate that. And I know I don't say it a lot because everybody be going through their own stuff and they don't really just be doing their own thing, but I genuinely mean that. So I'm gonna go ahead and say the last one. The last one is, what does being a real man mean to you in society? Is your take on it different from what society should perceive it as? Me personally, for me being a real man, it means a lot. Especially when, like, later on in your life, you have to take care of yourself, or like when you have a family, you have to take care of your family. Like, you got to be able to exhibit a lot of characteristics and virtues that most people assume about men. But for me, being a real man is just being able to provide, protect, and care for yourself and or your family. Cause when you're raised to the point where you have to be on your own, I can personally admit that, you know, ever since I graduated high school and stuff, it's been tough out here, like in this world, to build yourself up from practically shit. And only having the values and lessons of being a man that was taught to you by like whoever was your parent or your guardian, like your mom or your dad, or both your parents and all that stuff. So being a real man, it can test you in a lot of different ways. But I'm one person who can try and be able to accept a challenge, because when it's all said and done, I want to be at the point where I'm successful within my own life, and I want to be able to share that with a wife and kids. So being a real man upon yourself and others can also have those people see you as a prime example as a real man. So I feel like in order for me to be a real man, I have to be able to be a living testament of what that is and be able to show the way for other young men in my family and just like anybody in general that's, you know, raised up to be a real man. So, especially in the black community.
I feel like, you know, as far as being a real man, stretches before like, even before you like considered a real man. Cause like, there comes an age where you know what's right, what's wrong, and when it's time to do certain things. Like I say that time is like maybe 8th grade, like 9th grade going into high school. Cause like, you should know what's best for yourself. You should know when to do certain things. You should know when to tell people certain things. And like, it goes like you said, caring for people, caring for your family, caring for your loved ones, and also caring for yourself. Because like, you can't get in the world without caring for yourself, and you can't care for other people before you care for yourself. Because self-love is pretty important. It's not good to, you know, say, if I didn't love myself, but, you know, I care to do, I'll do anything for you, but before I do anything for myself. Like, there are certain people who you can put first, but like, you always have to worry about yourself also. Cause like, if you don't care for yourself, how are you gonna expect to live well? And you can't expect everybody else to like, you know, care for you the same way the same way you care for them. And it's like, especially when it comes time to like, know when to let go of things, because like shit is toxic, whenever to, you know, tell somebody something. It's like, it's even the little things like define you of like what a man is. It's not always the big things, you know? So like, I feel like there's a lot that goes into being a man. Like there's more than just, you know, how they say, oh, you're not a man unless you pay bills, or you provide for your wife and do stuff like that. I don't feel like that's true, because also, that's almost sexist in a way, because like a woman could also do things for you and provide.
Exactly.
Like, that's the thing. Like, women, they're like equal to us. There's nothing that a man can do that a woman can't. Because like, that's why I feel like I'm paying bills, I'm putting food on the table, you don't gotta work, you can stay home. Like, I don't feel like that defines you of what like a man. A man is like, you know, caring, trusting, and like, you know, being respectful, and like, you know, being able to adapt and do whatever your woman wants to do. Like if my girl, or whenever I get a wife, wants to pay for some bills, and she has the money for it, who am I to tell her no? Or if, you know, I'm making like 7 figures, and she wants to get a job, who am I to tell her no? Like, I don't think that's the way a man should be. A man, like, you should let your wife do what they want. Not everything, because you don't want your wife like going cheat on you or shit like that, but like, as far as the aspect of like caring for the family and the household, like, it's an equality in it.
Honestly, I really don't have much to say, because everything that y'all spit just then was like 100% true. But I will say something that I feel like y'all might have left out. What really makes you a man too also is what you've gone through. Depending on the obstacles in your life, is what you've gone through. That's what makes you a man as well. And I believe that's one of the main points of making you a man. Because like you said, like when y'all said earlier, yeah, at some point in time in your life, you're gonna realize what's right and what's wrong. And it's your choice to do it or not. So I mean, that falls back, you know, to all that.
True.
Taking responsibility.
Like that's very true.
And I really fuck with the point to where, you know, women and men are actual equal. I stress that to the fullest. I mean, if anyone views this right now, please, and you feel any different way, any type of other way, just please reevaluate yourself and actually do your research.
Yeah.
Not on no Google, but actually just go around asking people that actually know about, you know, life.
Exactly.
I mean, it doesn't really take a man to take care of his woman the way the woman wants him to take care of her. I mean, things could be 50-50. I mean, it's up here. It's mentality and it's just being smart. You're gonna really use up all your income to take care of her when she's just steady stacking, and then eventually she's gonna leave you.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta realize nobody in this world is ever satisfied. So
Yeah, because at this point in time, women can do just as equally as much as men can do, and they've proven it in a lot of ways. And you know, some people turn it into a debate. It shouldn't even have to be a debate. You know, if you make money, you make money. If you take care of your family, you take care of your family. If you handle your business, you handle your business. Like, that's point blank, period. So,
And going back to what he said about, you know, what you go through makes you a man. I feel like I know that, not, I could say from like a first-hand source, but like my father, you know, growing up in New York, back when he was growing up, like shit was tough then. And like, it took for him to get his entire house robbed and for him to almost die to realize like, you know, that shit changed him from what he told me. Of course, I didn't know my dad back then, but he's not gonna lie to me. And he told me like that shit changed him for real. Like, the things you go through will mold and shape you. And the things that, you know, the negative shit, you shouldn't let that mold and shape you down to the fact where you like don't have that inspiration or that drive to do whatever you want. You should like let all that negative stuff that happens to you mold you and shape you to be the person to be like, what can I do to avoid this, and what can I do to make sure that nobody I love has to go through this also? Because the things you go through, like people who like, you know, shit, live in like mansions and shit, you know, don't gotta live, like make a living, like they don't gotta work, do none of that stuff. I feel like they won't make it in society as to where somebody who came from the hood didn't have nothing, living off of welfare checks or food stamps. Not saying anything's wrong with that, because everybody goes through what they go through, but like a person like that compared to somebody who's like had everything handed to them from birth, I feel like they can make it more in society and do more things with their life if they took out the money. Cause like, of course you can do anything you want if you're rich, but like you don't have that mindset to where, you know, I'm gonna go get it. You don't have that drive because everything was handed to you. You didn't have to work for nothing. So I feel like also people like that, you know, have an edge up in society as far as like, you know, the mental state goes.
you know, like growing up, my real example of a real man was my dad. Like, even though
Yeah, right, man, for real.
my dad wasn't in my life for real. My dad wasn't in my life for 10 years, and he divorced my mom at 2 years old. I don't know the details of that divorce, but I know that was a long 10 years since I didn't have a father figure. Like, my mom was a father figure, but when he finally came back into my life at like 12, you know, I learned a lot about him. Just like, and you know, some people they underestimate their parents, take their parents for granted, but you gotta be able to cherish and love your parents each and every day, especially like your mama and your father. Like, my dad, like, that man is like, he's 61 and he's still working his ass off. Like, this man, he don't even have to work 1 or 2 or 3 jobs, but this man worked 3 jobs and work his ass off and still be able to, like, he don't even gotta help me. I'm 20 years old, he don't gotta help me for shit. That man still helped me, even when I'm going through shit. And he know when I'm going through shit. And I just be quiet, I don't tell him nothing, cause he stay low and he work. That man been working for the longest. And like, if anybody can overcome shit he's overcame through, that man was in and out of foster homes, grew up in Ohio. Ohio be cold as shit, and then a lot of people don't know like his background. It was a lot of hood-oriented things, but for him to overcome all that and see where he is at today, it means a lot for me. And like, me being a real man and on my journey of being a real man, I hope I'm like twice the man that he is, cause you know, where he stay at and all that stuff don't mean shit, cause that man worked hard to where you get to the point where he's at today. So I can learn a lot about him from him. So
Yeah. Also, I completely respect all that he just said. But if y'all don't mind, I'm gonna go back into one of the previous subjects real quick. Also, I want to just state real quick that it's never really good for someone to put you in a position to show them that you don't give no fucks about them. Like, that's the worst thing you could ever do in life, in history. If you have someone in your life and they're constantly getting on your nerves, and I'm not just talking about like getting on your nerves as in a level one, like oh man.
but
Hey guys, the 5:45 announcement is about to go off, which means that the rooms will be empty.
okay, we're about to get
Just
on.
make sure you have all of your stuff. Turn off lights and close the door behind you.
Okay.
Alright.
All right. Thank you.
Well, you can go off of what you said real quick, and then after that we'll go. But yeah, technical difficulties from white women, my fault. But go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead.
It's not racist. But yeah, sorry about that. What else was I saying? Oh yeah. If you have someone in your life and they're putting you through the phase to where you have to act like you don't give a fuck about them when you really do, but it's really like a momentary thing because you're really hurt. You are already hurt, but it's the fact that they keep putting you through, temporary shit.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to be in your life, bro. And that's just main facts. I mean, that's just the whole subject overall. Well, the previous subject. I just want to put that there, like, remember that.
But aside from everything, we appreciate y'all for being able to listen and watch us, and we're gonna hear from y'all soon. I appreciate y'all.
Oh, and add me on IG at Real Spill Juice.
Oh, yeah, same. Add me on the IG. It's your boy Mari. You feel me? Oh,
Go ahead.